My inheritance has cost me. The gadgets and car are nice. And I've almost gotten used to the smell in the cave. It's the criminals. Since my father died, they've focused their attention on me and the people around me. My father's enemies have gotten more twisted with age, more violent and suicidal. With no survivors. Because they know their inevitable end is near. They've seen Batman die.
I can't believe they killed him. Yeah, things are getting rough and dark out here.
They've seen each other die. The Riddler.
Riddle me this.
Dr. Death.
We go way back, Batman.
Two-Face.
I still believe in Harvey Dent.
All gone. Like the life I hoped for beyond this mask. Everything I have, everything I am, is because of him. I am the Batman's daughter. I am the Huntress. And tonight, I'm hunting the man who destroyed my life.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Huntress Podcast. This is episode number 26. I'm Ashford, and along with me is Laurel. Hello, Laurel.
Hi, Ashford. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you. And Diane. Hello, Diane.
Hello. How are you this morning or afternoon?
I know. Yeah, with podcasting, it could be anytime. It's saved and documented and archived. So hello, everyone. This time we are going to cover a Helena Wayne comic or two. And Laurel, which one are we covering today?
We are doing the Batman Family number 17 from 1978.
That is pretty cool. So before we go any further, let's look at the cover. Diane, what do you think about the cover of this one?
I like the composition of this one. You've got a star in the middle of the thing, and you've got Batman as the focal point or as the center of the star, and then you've got Robin, Batgirl, Huntress, and Man-Bat. So basically showcasing who all the protagonists of this one comic is going to be. So I really love the composition of it, and they're basically emphasizing star power in this cover. And of course, you know, you've got three well-known characters like Batman, Robin, and Batgirl. They already got star power, but then we've got another rising star. DC Superstars. We've another DC Superstar rising in this one, the Huntress, who is turning out to be a very popular character by this point. But DC's also trying to figure out where to place her, but we'll discuss that later. But yeah, they're basically really promoting the Huntress at this point, and I really love it. I love that they're showing Gotham City in the background. It's great. I love it.
Laura, what do you think about this cover?
I like it. It's friendly, it pops, it's got your brooding Batman in the center, I suppose, but the other characters are there, which is nice. It's got a nice little cityscape behind it. One of the only weirdness things here that just catches my eye and makes me chuckle. The Huntress and Man-Bat are at the bottom, and the way her mask points up and the way his ears point up look very similar because the interior of his ears are purple. I don't know why, but I'm looking at the two of them going, wait, what? How did she turn into this thing? It's just, it cracked me up when I first thought of it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they didn't do that on purpose by any means. It's just one of those weird quirks. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Well, this cover, I like it. And we're seeing a lot of it in the modern day times. We're in 2019, 2020 with DC doing these 100-page giants. So we're kind of seeing these piebald, amalgamated covers a lot. This cover was done by Michael William Kaluta. We're covering Batman Family number 17, publisher DC, of course. At the time, it was at 75 Rockefeller Plaza, New York, New York. It has a cover date of April/May 1978. However, it was on sale January 19th, 1978. The frequency of these comics, bi-monthly. Cover price, $1. Page count, 80. We have editor Alan Milgram. And it says, see also the guide to DC Giants. And there's several stories in this one, of course. You have Batman Robin, Scars. Batgirl Huntress, Horoscopes of Crime. And Man-Bat, and that's with the dash. Man-Bat. There's a demon born every minute. And Laurel, can you give us the synopsis to this one?
Actually,
I'm sorry,
got it.
Diane.
Yeah.
Diane, can you give us the synopsis to these two stories?
Yeah, absolutely. So, a story takes place on the parallel world known as Earth 1, the home of the Justice League of America. In Gotham, Batman investigates a case in which an actress has gone missing. Having run into a woman that resembles the missing actress, Batman soon discovers, to his horror, that the woman is horribly disfigured and possibly mentally challenged. A man who identifies himself as Drake recovers the woman and takes her back with him to an unknown location. When Batman, also known as Bruce Wayne, returns to his penthouse at the Wayne Foundation building, he finds his ward Dick Grayson inside. Dick is very visibly upset about something and Bruce wants to know about it. It turns out Dick is having girl troubles and that his current girlfriend, Laurie Elton, is about to meet with her ex-boyfriend, the football star known as Desmond Millard. Before Dick and Bruce have a chance to have a heart-to-heart discussion on the matter, they are quickly alerted to the presence of an intruder who is very effortlessly bypassing all of the Wayne Foundation security systems. The dynamic duo decides to confront this clever intruder as Batman and Robin. By the time Batman and Robin meet the intruder inside the private lift, they quickly learn that the woman identifies herself as the Huntress and more. She's a daughter of Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle, which quickly stuns the two men. It's not long before Bruce deduces that she is really the daughter of his Earth 2 counterpart and wishes to know what brings her to his Earth. The Huntress reveals her identity as Helena Wayne and admits she started her vigilante career quite recently and wishes to seek advice from him. This confuses Bruce as she should be able to seek the same advice from her own father. Helena then reveals that she can't because he's unaware of her Huntress activities and doesn't want her following in his footsteps. Bruce then realizes Kathy Kane, also known as Batwoman, may be a better choice for providing Helena the advice she wants. Bruce's Batman drops off Helena at the Cliffside Castle amusement park, where Kathy is currently scouting attractions for her own carnival and resumes his case for the mysterious disfigured woman he encountered earlier. In another part of Gotham, Poison Ivy and Catwoman are having their fortunes read by the villainous Madame Zodiac, who predicts both of the women will encounter a superheroine during their next heists. The villainous fortune teller predicts Poison Ivy will encounter Batgirl and Catwoman will encounter the Huntress, the latter of whom Catwoman has never heard of. Both women scoff Madame Zodiac's predictions as wildly absurd, to which Madame Zodiac offers them a wager. If her predictions are wrong, Catwoman and Poison Ivy will owe her nothing. If her predictions are correct, the two women will pay double Madame Zodiac's initial fee. Both women accept the wager. At State New York Park, Congresswoman Barbara Gordon is present alongside the world leaders admiring a picturesque view from a park ranger's tower. That is, until Poison Ivy attacks the people inside the tower, which prompts Batgirl into action. Batgirl nearly succeeds in capturing Ivy when she is knocked unconscious by Madame Zodiac. At Gotham International Airport, Helena Wayne is seen boarding a plane when the Catwoman decides to attack a celebrity baseball player by the name of Catfish Turner. Helena chuckles at the thought of Catfish, Turner being a celebrity on Earth 1 when his Earth 2 counterpart is known as a fourth-rate pitcher who got booed at every game. Deciding not to let him fall victim to the Catwoman schemes, Helena quickly changes into a Huntress costume inside the plane's cockpit and confronts the Earth 1 version of her mother. Huntress soon realizes that taking down her own mother, even just a doppelganger of her, isn't going to be an easy task. When she finally summons the courage to stop her mother's attack, the Huntress is herself knocked unconscious by Madame Zodiac. Back at Madame Zodiac's tent, the villainous fortune teller gloats over her victory over both Poison Ivy and Catwoman. Accepting the fact they were both wrong, they agreed to pay Madame Zodiac's double fee, but Madame Zodiac offers them a new errand instead: to obtain a peace pipe from an unnamed indigenous nations museum. Both women reluctantly accept the offer. At a New York carnival, Helena Wayne meets with Kathy Kane, who promptly introduces her to Barbara Gordon. Feeling that she might be a better heroine to seek advice from, since her father is also police commissioner. At first, Barbara makes fun of Helena, possibly finding it a bit amusing that the daughter of Batman and Catwoman would need any superhero advice from her. Helena then confesses that it's not so much advice she wants, but reassurance from another heroine, that she wasn't crazy for choosing to become the Huntress, given the other half of her family legacy, her mother's. Kathy then invites both Barbara and Helena to lunch at one of her favourite restaurants, incidentally in the same museum where Poison Ivy and Catwoman are set to steal a peace pipe. At the museum, both groups of women encounter each other. Once again, it's Huntress versus Catwoman, and Batgirl versus Poison Ivy, while the two young heroines are busy capturing the two female villains. Kathy Kane, as Batwoman, decides to go after Madame Zodiac herself. It turns out Madame Zodiac had tricked Ivy and Catwoman into being bait for both Huntress and Batgirl, while she herself obtained the pipe. As for not accounting for the presence of Batwoman, well, it turns out the villainous fortune teller expected her to appear, but also counted on her failing to capture her, as Madame Zodiac had also planned her escape. After all, it was written in the cards. Having failed to capture Madame Zodiac, Batgirl, Batwoman, and Huntress go their own way, with Huntress returning to Earth 2. And this concludes Batman Family number 17.
That is awesome. So, Laurel, take it away.
Well, I want to start, first of all, we've got this, it's actually broken into 3 stories, but we're just going to cover the Huntress parts. So let's look at her first appearance when she sort of breaks into the Wayne penthouse, which was interesting that she didn't just go and ring the bell. She decided to break in and confront them, and Robin, being a little bit of a hothead that day, tries to take her on, and she's forced to defend herself, and we have a little to do here. So, Diane, what did you think with this startup? This is the introduction of her into this book, into this family. What did you think of this as the first things we see?
I like the first that they kind of build a mystery on who this woman is. So for the people who have been reading, the Earth 1 family books, they may not be familiar with the Huntress, who is primarily appearing in All-Star Comics, the JSA Revival comic. And so if they're not reading that book, the writer of this story just basically teases, on Intruder, but they assume that the viewer or the reader has not actually heard of this character before. And so we do see the Huntress's gloves, picking a lock, and we see her bypassing, the laser security, and she is able to locate the private lift that goes straight to the penthouse. So I felt that sequence was very well done. And when we see Huntress and Robin coming out to the lift, she's basically very shocked. She's got the very surprised look on her face. So it's kind of interesting that she meant to surprise them, and they end up surprising her, so they kind of surprised each other here, because neither Batman or Robin were anticipating, an actual intruder being able to bypass, high Wayne tech security. And I guess Helena Wayne was not expecting, or the Huntress was not expecting to encounter them at the lift. I guess she was hoping to surprise them in the penthouse. So it's kind of a hilarious scene that takes place there, where Robin is like, you know what, I'm really upset with my girlfriend today. I'm just going to take it out on someone. And he just goes straight for the Huntress. And the Huntress is like, no, give me a chance to explain. And he doesn't really give her the chance. And so she kind of just lifts him up. I guess she headbutts him in that one panel. And then she tosses him over her head. And she kind of humiliates him there. And she apologized. She's like, I'm sorry, you didn't really give me a choice. I had to defend myself. And then Robin realizes,
I'm curious, did you think that was fair? I mean, she was breaking in.
Well, the thing is that the way that I interpret the scene, everyone's just kind of surprised to see everyone here. And so everyone's just kind of reacting to the moment. So I'm not really... Is it fair that she tossed him? Probably not, but at the same time, she was not going to let this young lad, beat the crap out of her as well. So, yeah, she was... The one thing about Helena Wayne is that she's a very reflexive character. She sees someone attacking. Even when she's passed out, if someone touches her, she reacts to it, very impulsively. Or not impulsively, but in a reflexive way. She shows you her heel, or she tosses you. In this case, she tossed Robin, which is the better deal, because you never, ever want to be on the receiving end of her high heel boots.
Ashford, how about you? How did you like this beginning appearance of Huntress and how she's interacting with the Batman and Robin of Earth 1?
I'm looking at this scene now, and one, I love that she manhandled Robin. And that's something because he's trained by Batman. So that's letting the readers know, like Diane mentioned, they may not be familiar with her. So we know, wow, she's pretty formidable. And I just basically love the whole sequence of her explaining where she comes from and the storytelling, the sequential order, the narrative with the pictures. It's beautiful. And like her in the foreground running with the JSA of Earth 2. Just cool stuff. The artwork is great. But I think like when they do like, hey, and here's a female counterpart, or here's a young person counterpart to this character. I mean, I know she has these Batman connections, but she still kind of come off as I'm my own person, my own thing. And I think she just has a coolness factor.
Well, again, I'm going to ask, is it fair of her to expect Batman to, take her into his confidence and give her advice? Was that a fair thing to ask of him? When he's saying we should talk to your dad, and I can't talk to my dad, so I came to you. And I'm like, if you're that character, is it fair to go around her father's back, or how does that make you feel? How did that work for you?
Well, I'm so used to the Batman I walked into as far as comic book wise on a regular basis. He would be cautious and he wouldn't trust anything. So him going, well, I'm going to keep you around just to investigate. What are you? I mean, I guess, but like, as far as you saying fair, I just think her explanations are just going to have to be great. You know what I'm saying? Just so they know you're not a potential threat.
Diane, I'm curious about what you have to think about this next part where Batman takes her and introduces her to Kathy Kane, the Batwoman, because there was a possibility of Huntress becoming a Batwoman. She chose to go her own way and make her own identity, but she very well could have turned into this character had she chosen a different path. What did you think about Batman, sort of introducing them and how that mentorship was supposed to work?
Well, I think with Helena Wayne, she's very new to this game at this point, so her mum. So if Earth 2 is running in real time, 1978, her mum literally died 2 years earlier. And so she's kind of been, operating as a Huntress in secret for a good 2 years by this point, because her dad is still alive on Earth 2, but he's not aware that the Huntress exists. And she's making sure of that. So Helena Wayne, as we'll notice in her solo stories in particular, she's very aware of the fact that she's new to this lifestyle. She's not familiar with all the ups and downs of maintaining, a double life. And so she feels like, maybe I should get a few pointers. So she's not afraid to seek help. So she's not afraid to ask questions and seek the mentorship from someone who's more experienced, has been doing this longer than she has. That's kind of what motivated her to join the JSA in the first place. But she's not really working with people that operate at her level. Even with Power Girl, she's got superpowers. She can fly, she can take bullets and walk away unscathed. She doesn't really have that going for her, so she can't really go to her dad for advice because her dad doesn't want her following in his footsteps. So that leaves her the Earth 1 Batman, whom she's aware of from the JSA's annual team ups with the Justice League on Earth 1. So she decides, well, let's try the closest thing to asking my father advice, and let's go to Earth 1 and ask that version of my dad who's close to my age. And Batman feels, okay, so I don't know what advice I can give you, probably because he's probably still processing the fact that he just met his daughter from another world. And he's processing the fact that this daughter is with Catwoman of all people. So I guess he's still processing that in his mind. And so he says, you know what, maybe I can introduce you to Kathy Kane, who has no history with Catwoman, at least not in the same way that I do. And she can probably, give you advice better than I can at this point. So that's what I'm thinking is going on with Batman here, is that he's kind of processing the fact he just met his daughter from another Earth with Catwoman and doesn't know how to react to that. And so he's basically, giving her to someone who can possibly help her out with what she needs, not just because she's a woman, but because she's not, in a place or in a position of, oh, so I do marry, one of my arch enemies in my future and have a child with that person.
Yeah, well, and it was sweet when she gives him a kiss goodbye and she calls him uncle. That was just, I thought that was really sweet. And he's not exactly sure how to take it. He puts his hand upon his cheek after they leave. And, that whole little scene, I thought that was terribly cute. So, yeah, you're right. He is definitely processing things and he wonders what it would be like. The next story, we do get to see some Huntress action again. We get the crossbow coming out and have her use it, which she does really nice. She's got tranquilizers in it. She does some trick shots, getting one of the guns I guess she gets it in the trigger guard. And it's just really neat. And then, of course, she's got to take on Catwoman, who is the spitting image of her mom. So, Ashford, what did you think of this scene when we're starting off with her coming in and doing her thing? And then, oh my gosh, it's my mother.
You know what? It's actually a great high drama. It's science fiction. We're so used to Batman, Bat family stuff being grounded in reality. But we have a story where we have a horoscope lady, right? Madam, not Xanadu, but Madam what?
Zodiac.
Oh, I'm sorry, Madam Zodiac, where what I like about her, she's actually right on, right? Like, her predictions are right. And I like the whole thing of we have Helena Wayne going to Earth 2, and like just these horrors of, this is my mom, and it's not like my mom is safe where I'm from. She died. So that's going to let my guard down, and I'm going to be a little thrown off because this woman here is not exactly my mother. So I just think internal drama driven storytelling, it's pretty good.
Well, the thing that struck me about their battle together, Helena hesitates a moment because it is her mother. And Catwoman, well, the spitting image of her mother, this is the Earth 1 version. And Catwoman gets a chance to try to start choking her. And that is a very personal thing, because they're right in your face. They're right there staring at you, trying to kill you, choking you like that. I thought, oh my gosh, the trauma of having my mother, somebody who looks like my mother do that would have been more than I could handle. And the fact that she handles it and takes her down, and I know, Diane, you must have thoughts on this.
Lots of thoughts on it, actually. So Helena Wayne was not expecting to meet both versions of her parents on Earth 1. And she was just basically there to, seek advice from another hero, so to speak. So her running into Catwoman, of all people, was purely coincidental for this character. And she's so in the same way that Batman, the Earth 1 Batman, is processing, the idea that he's got a daughter with Catwoman on another Earth. We've got Helena Wayne about to encounter her mum, the Earth 1 version of her mum, where she's at. And so she's keeping in mind that she's still processing the death of her mum on Earth 2. So she's still, not over the fact that she's not over that trauma of losing her mum. So that's going on in her mind. So when we see her, ducking into, I think it was an aeroplane in the cockpit, she goes inside the aeroplane, she changes, and she tries to be as casual as possible when she encounters her mum. But when she sees, well, not her mum, but, the Earth 1 version of her, and when she comes up to her up close, she realizes that, this is not going to be as easy as it looks. On the one hand, I'm still, I became the Huntress because my mother died, and it was a very traumatic death for me. And I'm still, processing all of that. So even though it's 2 years after the fact, she's still not, over that. And so for her to encounter her mum on another world, on another Earth, there's a big part of her that's hoping that, she's exactly like the mum that she lost. And so she's meeting a Catwoman that's still in her prime. She's still in her, very much into her criminal career. And so it's hard for her to process that reality and the fact that, this is not someone that she realistically wants to fight. And so she's trying to deal with it as best as possible. And she's trying to come off as, one of the other heroes of Earth 1, to not, trip her up and to not, expose her vulnerability to someone that looks like her mum. Now, of course, Catwoman is very confused about what's going on with this heroine because she's very reluctant to fight her, and she doesn't understand why. And she's like, I don't get it, but I don't care. You know, this woman is very distracted. Here's my chance to get rid of her, dispatch her, something, and I can carry on with what I actually came here to do. So there's a lot of internal conflicting going on with Helena Wayne here, in that she doesn't know how to handle the situation. She doesn't want to expose her vulnerability to a version of her mum who is not even her mum, but at the same time she cannot bring herself to treat this person the same way she would any other criminal, because to her it doesn't matter if it's Earth 1 or Earth 2, this woman's still her mum, and she's not going to treat her like a criminal. So she makes a very hard decision here and do what she needs to do, stop her mum from capturing another person, in this case a baseball player. So she does what she has to, but very reluctantly. So I do feel that the way that she is written after the fact is a bit weird. She's like, you know, maybe someday you'll reform like my mother did, but until now you're just another common criminal. I felt that line was a bit weird, because I can't realistically see her saying that, but you can still see the conflict going on with the character there in all of these pages. It's not easy for her, but she has to play it straight. She has to play it cool and not show any vulnerability, which I think is probably the hardest thing for her in this moment, not so much to fight. How about you?
Well, like I said, I couldn't possibly have handled this, which is probably why I'm not a costumed heroine running around. So yeah, the conflict is definitely there, and like I was saying, for it to be so personal, so visceral an attack, that was really upsetting. And then we have what I think I liked the best, is when we get the team up with Batgirl, Batwoman, and Huntress all together as a unit, trying to take on these bad guys and helping each other out and backing each other up and everything. I really, really like that. I think that was my favorite part of this whole thing. Ashford, did you like this scene, and what did you think?
I liked it, and I liked the way they connected, as far as you have Huntress, where she's like, my father is Batman, and my mom is Catwoman, and I'm kind of living a legacy. And then you have Barbara Gordon, who is, she's going as Batgirl, crime fighting, kind of living out a legacy of crime fighting like her father. So they have these connections. After all, both of you have fathers who are Gotham City Police commissioners, because on Earth 2, Bruce Wayne retires and becomes commissioner. So they have these connections, and when you look at this, you're like, hey, this is an early version of Birds of Prey right here, right?
Oh, neat, yeah.
And I have to say this, I mentioned this a lot, but I'm looking at a panel right now where it says Chapter 3 starring Batgirl, Huntress, and Batwoman. They look like women. They look like some grown, and also, like, I love the 70s. So they just look like women. So like you're saying, I like when we get like some in costume time, and then when we get some civilian wear time. Yeah, this is cool stuff to me.
Diane, I'm curious, in your summary of the story, in your synopsis there, you mentioned that it seems like Barbara Gordon is poking a little bit of fun at Helena. I didn't care for that part. I wish we had seen them actually do a consult where they all got to sit down more. It didn't go right into the action when they tried to go sit down for lunch. But I'm curious, did that bother you the same way as in your synopsis, or were you just pointing that out?
Oh no, I had the same reaction the first time that I read the story, God knows how many years ago now. But yeah, I do think that, Barbara Gordon, poking fun at Helena Wayne is like, I think when you look at it from Barbara's point of view, I mean, the only leg that she's got in the Batman legacy is that she's friends with Bruce Wayne, actually, she's the daughter of Commissioner Gordon, who is best friends with Batman, sort of. And so that's her only leg in the Batman legacy, is that her dad is close partners with Batman, and that's what kind of catapulted her into that lifestyle. And here we've got an actual daughter of Batman, and Catwoman at that, seeking advice from her. And if you look at it from Barbara Gordon's point of view, she's like, okay, you're the daughter of Batman and Catwoman. Wouldn't these two people have taught you all of your skills from the moment you were old enough to walk? So she's probably thinking, why come to me? I mean, I don't have the level of training that you've got. I don't have any of the privileges that you've got, you know. So I guess part of her is thinking, you know what, this doesn't make sense to me. You know, you're the daughter of Batman. You should definitely be better than me at this superhero stuff. And this is before, you know, she actually learns who Helena Wayne is, and she realizes, okay, yeah, maybe I understand where you're coming from, but I did not actually get raised or get groomed to be a superhero like Robin did. You know, I was actually given a normal upbringing. So, yeah, I'm actually very new to this because my dad never raised me to be, you know, the Huntress. He never raised me to be a superhero. He just raised me like a normal kid because by the time I was born, he had retired that lifestyle entirely. So that's why
you're talking about Helena Wayne now, right?
Right.
I got mixed up.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. I was just like, wait a minute, Barbara Gordon did what now?
No.
I was like, I can't have that right. Something changed.
You know, so what I'm trying to say is that, you know, Barbara Gordon, she was never indoctrinated to be a superhero, but then Helen is kind of making a point here. I'm assuming this is how the conversation went when they went to lunch or on their way to lunch, that Helena Wayne eventually explained, okay, no, my upbringing was very normal. You know, I was not raised to be a superhero like you would expect, you know. So from Barbara Gordon's point of view, she's probably thinking, well, you're Batman's daughter. He would have raised you to do this. Why do you need my help? And Helena, I guess, would have confirmed or explained, no, it didn't happen like that. You know, I was actually raised like a normal kid. You know, I was not, my dad had retired being Batman, you know, by the time I was born. So they're close to the same age. Barbara Gordon is, I would say, slightly older in this. She's probably in her mid-20s. Helena Wayne is 21, so she's still kind of young. And it bothered me the way that, you know, Barbara Gordon kind of poked fun at her, but at the same time, if you look at it from Barbara's point of view, you know, she's confused as to why a daughter of Batman would come to her for help when she should already have those skills from her point of view. And of course, it's going to take Helena Wayne explaining to her that, no, I didn't have the upbringing that you think I have. And so, but notice that the conversation between Helena Wayne and Barbara Gordon is significantly different from the way that, you know, Barbara Gordon reacts to Helena Bertinelli in the post-crisis DC universe. Because at least here she's just kind of confused as to why, you know, a daughter of Batman would want her advice on anything. But she actually likes Helena Wayne in this story. So she kind of just clicks with Helena Wayne right away. But when we see how she interacts with Helena Bertinelli as Oracle in the post-crisis DC universe, she just does not like Helena Bertinelli at all, and was very reluctant to have her on the Birds of Prey team when she was first brought in, you know, or when she first recruited her to handle a case that Black Canary was not available for. So I think the parallel that I find very interesting here is that Barbara Gordon reacts very differently to the Huntress when she's Helena Wayne compared to when she's Helena Bertinelli, and it all goes back to the backstory, you know. And I guess for Barbara Gordon, it's just weird for her that, you know, someone that she would think would be raised by Batman to be a crime fighter from day one just did not turn out that way. So I think that I can see the points of view here. I can see why it might bother some readers, but at the same time, you kind of have to put yourself in Barbara's shoes. This is not someone that she would expect to have a normal upbringing. And the thought of Batman actually raising a normal kid would be, like, unheard of for Barbara.
Well, you were talking about how she's so accepting of Helena. I was impressed with how well they worked together in this. I mean, they, like, fell into that routine really quick. You know, Helena's got the whip gets around her arm. She drops her crossbow. So Batgirl steps in and ropes her. And while she's getting that, you know, Poison Ivy's coming up behind Batgirl, and Huntress is there to trank her. And they just fell into this nice rhythm of fighting together, which I really appreciated. And then I felt like Batwoman was sort of waiting to assess the situation. And when she figures out, no, there's another player here, and she goes and gets that person. And it was just a really nice balance of people here with abilities. Did you enjoy that as much as I did?
Are you asking me or Ashford?
You.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I always love that sequence where they just work together and they kind of, work in perfect harmony with each other. It actually kind of reminds me of the scene from the Birds of Prey movie, the final act, where all these women get together and they just kind of wing it, but they work so perfectly together. Kind of reminds me a bit of that scene. But instead we've got, 3 Bat women. One of them calls herself the Huntress, taking on 2 Bat villains, in this case Poison Ivy and Catwoman and Madame Zodiac. So we've got a nice symmetry of 3 heroines, 3 villains, all working together to achieve a common goal. But it turns out that one of the villains was using the other 2 as bait for the heroines, while she herself got what she needed. So we will see Madame Zodiac again in a future Batgirl story. But yes, the symmetry in which they fight, you've got Helena Wayne with her crossbow, you've got Barbara Gordon with her batarangs, and then you've got, Poison Ivy with her gun, and then you've got Catwoman with her cat o' nine tails. So they're all kind of fighting each other, but they also have each other's backs. The 3 women, the 3 heroines, they've got each other's backs in a way that the 3 villains do not. At best, Poison Ivy and Catwoman, they got each other's backs, but Madame Zodiac just kind of betrays them both in that one scene. But we also see that the Huntress does not have the same reluctance in this one sequence like she did earlier. So Catwoman, very understandably, is annoyed by Huntress by this point, but we notice that Helena Wayne is able to handle the fight better this time around. I do think that's a bit weird though, because I think she would have still been just as reluctant to fight her mum here as she did earlier on at the airport with the baseball player. So I do find that one sequence odd, that she's not very reluctant to fight her mum this time. Yeah.
Do you think it's because she's having to defend other people, that the other heroes, and she's like stepping in and taking it on because, oh my goodness, I need to protect these people? And so she gets over it faster than when it's just the 2 of them one-on-one?
I think, in my personal opinion, she's hiding it better this time because, like you said, she's got Batgirl and Batwoman working with her and she cannot show any vulnerability. So I think both of these women are aware of the fact that she's Catwoman's daughter, but they're not letting her, I guess being with them is helping in a way. But I think she's more worried about the other 3 villains that she's with there, because Catwoman's not by herself now. She's got Poison Ivy and she's got Madame Zodiac. So she definitely has to not show vulnerability in this scene. But I have to say, Helena, she's handling that very well, or at least she's hiding her emotions very well here, because Poison Ivy, she's pretty dangerous on her own, but Madame Zodiac's even more dangerous than the other 2. So, I think that's what she's doing. She's hiding it more than usual, and she has to, because 3 villains versus her.
Ashford, you said you liked it when they were in their civilian garb. Did you like the interplay here when they're together like this, and then in the final scene, I guess it's the first scene of the 3rd book where Helena's saying goodbye and, you can drop in on me on Earth 2 anytime kind of thing? Did you like this camaraderie that built up?
Yeah, I loved it. I think like being in your Lorne Michaels hat or chair, or you're an editor, I don't see how you could like look at this sequence and not think, wait a minute, I think there's something here. Like, I don't know if we need to do an annual team up like Justice League of America and Justice Society of America, where every Thanksgiving there's some type of crisis where we get together. But someone should have been thinking when these 3 teamed up, like, I think we should do this more often. So yeah, I loved it.
I think that's everything I've got. Do either one of you have something more you want to add on this one?
I think we...
Yes,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I should call on you one at a time. Go ahead, Diane. Go for it.
Yeah, I've got anything else. I think we covered all the main points of this story. Helena Wayne meets the Earth 1 versions of her parents, and she meets the extended Earth 1 Bat family. Sadly, this is the only time that they ever get together. Helena Wayne will interact with the Earth 1 Batman a couple more times after this, but we never see this happen again, and I lament that.
Ashford?
And I loved at the very beginning of this when Helena is walking through the airport and She says, I wonder how the catfish would react if I told him his Earth 2 counterpart was a fourth-rate pitcher who got booed in every game. And just those little touches of she's from some other place, and every doppelganger Earth 1, Earth 2 version of you is not exactly the same. So the other version of me is some wacky scientist that's trying to get his lab funded or whatever. So I like those little touches, just a line here, a line there, let you know, much like our own, but different. Well, I guess we can wrap it up here. What did you folks think about this one, this Bat Family number 17? Write to us at Huntress, thehuntress.podcast.com. Leave us a message. You can go on Twitter and write to us at Huntress Podcast. Please do us a favor and go to Apple Podcasts, subscribe to the show, leave us a 5-star rating. That would be Nito Supremo, and we are on Spotify. You're going to have to type in the Batgirl Huntress Podcast, and you can find us. So until next time, bye-bye.